Hey, Chef Walker, I wanted to share with you the secret that I used to finish my book. So the backstory in this was I was writing a book, my first book, and it was taking me forever. It was years, actually. And while I enjoyed much of the process, it was still brutal, and I just couldn't bring that thing home. And then I had a deadline where I just really needed to get it out last year. And so what I did was I followed this technique that I learned from Eben Pagan. Now, Eben didn't invent this. I know in the comments you're going to tell me everyone else you learned it from, and that's fine, but Eben added a few tweaks to it that really made the difference for me. And it was a simple timer. I mean, a timer you could go down and get at Walmart for $2 or $3, a kitchen, an egg timer. But, and so what I would do is I would set that timer for 50 minutes. And during that 50-minute time frame, I typed. I put my fingers on the keyboard and I typed. And it was almost like the equivalent of like a hot pen technique. It was a hot keyboard technique where I never stopped. And after those 50 minutes, then I would take a 10-minute break, and then I would come back and do another 50-minute session. And the way the math worked, and I know it sounds incredibly simple, I'm going to give you break it down a little bit more for you in a second, but the way the math worked is at my writing speed, I would typically write about 1,000 words in that 50 minutes, and then 1,000 words in the second 50 minutes. And the way it works is a chapter is about between 4,000 and 5,000 words. So every day I followed this regimen. In those two 50-minute sessions, I would write a half a chapter. You know, the book I think is 12 or 13 chapters, so you can do the math, and got through the book in not that long a time. And of course, I was already halfway in when I started doing this process. That halfway in had taken me a couple of years, and then I was able to wrap it up in a couple months doing this. And of course, then there's rewrites and edits and more, but the process is what's important. That process allowed me to move through the book and be super focused. You know, the rule is when that timer was on, I just couldn't deviate. I had to type. And if I didn't know what to type next, I could type, I don't know what to type next, but my fingers kept on moving. That 10-minute break in between lets the mind recharge, do a little meditation, go get a cup of tea, do some push-ups, run up and down the stairs a few times, just rejuvenate for those 10 minutes and come back. Now the key is I only did those 2 sessions. I wasn't doing 8 hours of writing because almost no one can write for 8 hours or be super creative for 8 hours. So I did it for 2 sessions a day. Sometimes I'd have a hero day where I had a 3rd session. I think one time I might have had a 4th session, but my goal was to do 2 of those sessions. Now, I'm easily distracted. I mean, we all work in front of that computer. It's an incredibly, it's the world's perfect distraction machine. So what I would do was I would plan for this day. When I went to bed, I knew I was going to have one of those writing days the next day. And so I had a rule. Within 10 minutes of my feet hitting the floor, getting out of bed, I had to have my fingers on the keyboard. That gave me time to brush my teeth, floss my teeth, grab a couple big glasses of water, go to the bathroom, and get in front of my computer because my office is my home. So within 10 minutes of my feet hitting the floor, I had to be in that process. I had to be in my first 50-minute session. Now another thing I did was I got away from the simple egg timer. I used the timer on my phone. And then what I did was I got an app, and there's many of these. The one I used is called Relax Melodies. That's Relax Melodies. I'm going to put a link down below the video for you if you're at my site at jeffwalker.com. Relax Melodies, and it's what they call a white noise generator. And it basically, I could put any noise I want, like running water. You might be able to hear some running water in the background here in this shot. But I would have background and forest sounds. And it also had binaural beats. And I'm not going to take the time to talk to you about binaural beats right now, maybe another video. But I would set up the binaural beats to put me in a super focused state of mind. And then the white noise in my earbuds would block everything out so I didn't have any distractions. Even though I was locked away in my office, you could still have distractions. So the white noise and the binaural beats put me in that state of mind. Then another thing that app actually has a built-in timer. So I could put the earbuds in, put on the white noise background, put the binaural beats on, set it for 50 minutes, and then I just forget. I didn't have to look at the timer because after 50 minutes, it would fade away. So another thing I would sometimes use is another app, website called Relax Melodies. Focus at Will. So sometimes I'll use, most of the time, Relax Melodies, sometimes Focus at Will. Again, there's a link down below the video if you're at jeffwalker.com. Those two things, then the idea of setting that 50-minute focus session. Now here's the deal, it doesn't have to be for a book. You can do this for anything you need to create, and all of us need to be creative in our jobs, in our businesses now. So no matter what you're doing, this can work for you. And that idea, like another thing I learned from Eben is willpower is one of the things that is in the absolute shortest demand, or the shortest supply. One of the things we have the least of is willpower. And we wake up each morning with a certain amount of willpower rejuvenated. And that's why you want to have those focus sessions in the morning. Now I know some people have schedules that's not going to work. And I know some people would rather listen to music or just have silence, so the white noise isn't going to work. But those focus sessions, as early in the day as you can do them, they were gold. That's how I wrote my book, and I know they'll work for you. So if you're watching this video anywhere else besides at my blog at jeffwalker.com, head over there. I've got a few links for you there. I got a link to my book, to Relax Melodies, to Focus at Will, and to some of Eben's trainings. And yeah, let me know the big project you're working on right now as we get this year rolling. What are you working on, and what can you use these techniques with? And scroll down, leave a comment for me. I'd love to hear from you.